Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. is a name synonymous with the fight for justice and equality. A leader, a preacher, and a visionary, Dr. King's influence on the civil rights movement forever altered the course of history. But beyond his famous speeches and marches, Dr. King also tackled the systemic injustices of economic inequality and discriminatory housing policies that marginalized Black Americans. Born on January 15, 1929, in Atlanta, Georgia, Martin Luther King Jr. grew up in a world deeply divided by racial segregation. The son of a Baptist minister, Dr. King's early experiences of discrimination shaped his commitment to justice. After earning a doctorate in theology, he emerged as a leader in the burgeoning civil rights movement, inspired by his Christian faith and the nonviolent teachings of Mahatma Gandhi. Dr. King rose to prominence during the Montgomery bus boycott in 1955, following Rosa Parks' courageous stand against segregation. His leadership during pivotal events like the March on Washington in 1963 and the Selma to Montgomery marches galvanized the nation and led to landmark legislation, including the Civil Rights Act of 1964 and the Voting Rights Act of 1965. Dr. King, archive audio. I have a dream that one day every valley shall be exalted. Every hill and mountain shall be made low. The rough places will be made plain, and the crooked places will be made straight. Dr. King's vision extended beyond civil rights to economic justice. He recognized that true equality required addressing the structural barriers that perpetuated poverty and inequality. In the late 1960s, Dr. King launched the Poor People's Campaign, advocating for fair wages, better education, and equitable housing. One of the most insidious forms of discrimination was redlining, a practice where banks and governments systematically denied Black families access to mortgages and homeownership. Dr. King fought against these policies, recognizing that homeownership was key to building generational wealth and stability. Dr. King, archive audio. We're tired of living in rat-infested slums. Now is the time to make real the promises of democracy. Dr. King's assassination on April 4, 1968, was a devastating loss, but his dream lived on. The Fair Housing Act, passed just days after his death, was a direct response to his tireless advocacy. Yet, the fight continues. Today, Black families still face significant challenges in achieving homeownership and economic equity. Dr. King's legacy inspires ongoing efforts to dismantle systemic barriers and create a more just society. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. once said, "Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere." His life's work reminds us that the journey toward equality is far from over, but worth every step. Remember, reflect, act. MLK's dream lives on.